Ende bayi asim ko bosin keta mana na yimma asim kan ko echikwelu ya zelu. Dịka o si dị, ihe a bụ Eastern News 24 bụ ebe anyị si were wetara unu ya bụ nnukwu ozi dị oke mkpa gbasịta maka ihe na-eme na obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya, ana gbasịta maka nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ. Dịka o si dị, ọ bụ na ya bụ ụbọchị izi gị ị na-agafete n'iru akwụkwọ afọ chanel anyị, kaba alụ ka ị sọbskraibụ and turn on your notification. Maka gịnị? Anyị na-etinyekwanụ update daily gbasịta maka ihe na-eme n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya, na gbasịta maka nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ. Dịka o si dị, ya wetara unu n'iru akwụkwọ bụ ife anyị na-akpọkwa evening tea ka anyị ji maka ya, ka anyị ji mara ya. Anyị na-akpọ ya evening tea. Ife a bụ Biafran Prime Minister in exile were ife were ịgwa ụmụ Igbo. Unu ga-esi ya bụ ife n'ụdị nke gị, ị ga-esi ya bụ ife ịkaba alụ kwuo efe ichelu gbasịta maka ihe ndị a niile Biafran Prime Minister kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị nke taa anyị na-akpọ evening tea. You can say drop your own comment. All right, over to you, sir.
That the United States is giving a statement about Anambra election. They want to see free and fair election in Anambra. How can you have free and fair election in Nigeria where you have over 34,000 policemen being deployed to kill our people? How are you going to have free and fair election in Anambra? Before we can talk about having free and fair election in Anambra, since we are going political solution, first of all, Anambra State must be demilitarized. All the military and security people in Anambra State must leave. You can't militarize a state and you want to have democracy take place. Two of them can never work together. So when you want to conduct election, if we're going to have a democratic or political solution, make sure that there is nothing in this life that will make election tomorrow to take place, because we need to postpone the election so that the leadership will go back to drawing board. The demand will be very clear. You cannot have a free and fair election when you have police and army everywhere, considering the record of the Nigeria police and the security agent. Very, very bad record. You can never have free and fair election. So, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released. After that, after the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, whatever he say is final. Whatever he say about Anambra election is final. So we demand also the release of all the people that have been abducted and kidnapped by the Nigeria DSS. They are today languishing in prison and incarcerated. We are going to ask our guests to come in, so we'll continue, because after him we are going to have the normal exposition today. Make sure you hit the like button as you are coming. Those of you watching from YouTube, as you are coming, you are hitting the like button so that other people will understand that we are live, and it will appear on their feed. Those who are using YouTube, who are watching from YouTube. Wait for Dr. Allen to join us. And on this note, let us go on commercial. Welcome back. Dr. Allen, good afternoon from here.
Good afternoon, Simon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. This is the second time you are coming to the program. Welcome you again. I know that you have been here before, and a lot of people may have seen you. A lot of people may have read about you. If you could tell us just a little bit brief about yourself for those who have never seen you before.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, I'm a partner of the BW Global Group based in Washington, D.C., and we specialize in human rights issues, crimes against humanity, some government relations, and anti-corruption work worldwide. I have over 40 years of criminal investigative law enforcement experience, principally involved in international activities. My last assignment before I retired from the U.S. government, I was on loan to the United Nations-backed Special Court for Sierra Leone, where I was the chief of investigations, where I lived and worked in Freetown, West Africa, where I was responsible for directing all the criminal investigations, war crimes investigations of those people that bear the greatest responsibility for the civil war in Sierra Leone. Interestingly enough, it took us directly to the former president of Liberia, who created the Revolutionary United Front, who was subsequently indicted and convicted for war crimes. At the time, he was the first sitting head of state ever indicted for war crimes. And again, he was subsequently convicted, sentenced to 50 years, and his son was also arrested and convicted for torture related to one of our witnesses and witnesses of the Special Court for Sierra Leone, not directly but indirectly related, and he received a 97-year sentence in the United States. So I have vast experience in seeking justice and accountability in the international rule of law arena. So that's the experience I bring to the particular project that we have, that we're honored to work on behalf of the IPOB, and that was to seek justice and accountability and also engage in a human rights campaign, not only in Washington, D.C., but globally. So that's what we're actively involved in and have been doing since March of this year, when the leader reached out to us and signed an agreement with us, and we've been engaged ever since.
Thank you very much for that in-depth brief. I wouldn't want to go into the Liberia thing and all that, because a lot of people already have heard about how you handled it, and history is about to repeat itself. Now, we have been seeing recently, news on different platforms about your organization filing some kind of document to the ICC, International Criminal Court. So could you tell us, what is going on? Is there an update from the September filing?
Absolutely. We've, as you know, there's a lot of things that we're doing that are confidential. But what I can share with you was that we have collected evidence and information where we prepared our very first criminal referral to the Office of the Prosecutor at the International Criminal Court on 15 September of this year. And that was a confidential but a very comprehensive compilation of evidence we submitted to them that they received, acknowledged receipt, and are actively examining that information. And we'd also requested that if they had not opened up an investigation yet, to add this to the preliminary examination. However, we are actively seeking that they seek approval from the pretrial chamber to open an investigation specifically into the wide-scale and systematic killing of the civilian population, and most notably targeting the indigenous people of Biafra. Now, since that time frame, we have collected additional evidence, and we submitted a second referral containing criminal information and evidence to substantiate further ongoing and wide-scale systematic killing of the civilian population, and again, specifically targeting the IPOB. That was also acknowledged. It's being examined. And again, we are requesting that they formally open an investigation and look into what we are identifying as a genocide that's being committed by the Nigerian government and extremist Fulanis against the indigenous people of Biafra.
Thank you very much. You said it has been acknowledged, and you are waiting for the ICC to open investigation. So I just want to for just a clarification. Is it that when the application is filed, they have to be after the acknowledgement, they have to now open the investigation for that particular case?
Well, what the process is that they have to seek formal approval from the pretrial chambers to do that. What we are doing is providing them ample evidence to justify that request to open an investigation, and most specifically looking at the, again, wide-scale and systematic killing of the civilian population, which is a crime against humanity and, quite frankly, genocide that we believe is being committed against indigenous people of Biafra.
All right. So when this thing is filed, is it like something that anybody can ask and get information that, some kind of complaint or application has been lodged at the ICC? Is it something that anybody can ask question and you get some information or some kind of feedback from the ICC?
Well, we have gotten written responses, acknowledgement, as you typically do, and we've also gotten responses directly from the Office of the Prosecutor. And it is a process, and as you can imagine, we collected very sensitive information, and it's confidential. Certainly they have all the details, but it's not something that's publicly and readily available to the public for obvious reasons. We have confidential sources of information and evidence that needs to be protected, but the ICC is well aware of it, and they have that, and it's their obligation to examine and look at that, and we've done that under the protection of the ICC, so that sources and witnesses and methods and operations are not inadvertently disclosed or discovered, to protect the individuals that are involved.
Yeah. All right. So we, the last time you were here, and I have also been privileged to see the release from your group. There are some other organizations you have mentioned that that were communicated officially. So could you brief us about them, like for the Committee on Human Rights at the UN and all that, and then also you mentioned about the United Kingdom. Let us take it, step by step. Brief us about the Committee on Human Rights at the UN. What do you intend to get from them?
Absolutely. This is a process, as you know. You have to educate people and make them aware of this. And this is aware of actually what happened. And that is now coming out, as you've seen the recent determination or finding in Kenya, where that in fact had borne fruit. So again, this is a process. This is what we're doing. It doesn't happen overnight, but you have to understand what needs to be done in the process in which to pursue. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Thank you very much. And when I look at the second filing, the second filing to this ICC, I noticed that there is this BWGG has fully communicated with the Foreign Office in the United Kingdom regarding both the ICC and the UN filing, and continue to seek increased cooperation from the UK regarding the unlawful rendition of IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Can you give us a little bit more in-depth, comment? What is it that you are trying to get from the UK Foreign Office? What are we expecting from there, from your experience?
Well, since the leader, Mazi Kanu, is a British citizen, we have every every right as the legal representative for Mazikanu and on behalf of the IPOB in the United States, and actually as an organization, because he signed the agreement with us, not just in the United States, but globally. So it's our obligation to keep them posted and informed of what we are doing to the extent that we can. So we did in fact provide a redacted copy of the referral, which they received and they acknowledged, and it has gone into the human rights section in the UK, and it has been shared with the African desk, and also it's been shared with the appropriate offices in The Hague. So they are taking this very serious, and again, it's our job to inform them. We want to keep them aware of what's going on and keep them engaged in what's going on so that they can support making sure that justice and accountability is sought on behalf of the IPOB and certainly Mr. Kanu.
Thank you very much. And just for our viewers, I would want to bring this to the screen. One moment. When you look at this, what is on the screen, this is the first communication on the 15th of September 2021 from your organization. This is 15th of September, as you can see, 15th of September, Washington, D.C. Go down to the second page of this document. One moment. There is something here that says Congressman Chris, ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Africa, stated genocide is happening right before our eyes. The United States and international community must do more to hit the violent because the dire situation on ground warrant it, and because the people of Nigeria deserve to live in peace and freedom with their fundamental human rights guaranteed. Now, the congressman, related to the congressman's statement. Now, this is from Chris, and this was in September 15, 2021. Now, I'm going to bring another statement. Another statement from Chris, I think in October. Then after that, I will ask you the question I want to ask. So let us go to bring this to the screen. That was what I just read now was in September, and then going forward to October 2021, the same Congressman Smith, now did not only just talked about Nigeria. He did not only talk about the and all that going on in Nigeria. He did not only talk about the genocide going on in Nigeria. One moment, I don't know if you can see. Are you seeing anything on the screen?
I am.
You see the document on the screen?
Yes, it's small, but I can read it.
Okay, I have to try to make it more. I think.
Yes, I can see it. Yes.
All right. One moment. So when you look at, what I've just read now, previously from September 15, during when you filed the first application to the ICC, then this is now the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission hearing, counter-terrorism and human rights, striking the right balance. This was on Tuesday, October 26, 2021, and this is the remark. And in this particular conference, Congressman Chris made a very remarkable comment where he said, meanwhile, the government about libeling group agitating for separatism, such as the indigenous people of Biafra or IPOB terrorists, and using this libel to justify as a justification for repression. Now, this. Why I'm just. I think I have to read this from the beginning. I have to read this from here so it will make sense to people who are listening to this broadcast. Now, he said, we also see in Nigeria the selective use of counterterrorism to attack political opposition. Nigerians on a daily basis witness the impunity which so-called Fulani herdsmen, extremists who share an ethnic and religious ethnicity with President Buhari and the Fulani elect, which now dominate all key institutions in Nigeria, and it is also well stated, dominate all key institutions in Nigeria, attack predominantly Christian villages in the Middle Belt, state security forces which are obligated to protect civilians are at best indifferent or at worst allegedly complicit in the ongoing and sustained attack. Now, before this is what is in your head probably, but I want you to pay a very very emphasis to this particular political opposition, where Chris now said here, attack political opposition. And I remember that in the first document that I showed, which you filed on the 15th of September 2021, this particular statement, the exact word, was in that filing. You may not know this, but I'm just telling you because I've just researched and scrutinized these two documents. I find out that in this particular statement from Chris, he used the exact word that that were in the document you submitted to the ICC. Now, going forward, he continued to say, meanwhile, the government has no qualm about libeling groups agitating for separatism, such as the indigenous people of Biafra or IPOB terrorists, and using this libel as justification for repression. Now, I know a lot of people will be wondering why am I reading this. Why I'm reading this is that I have just connected the statement of Congressman Smith, which he made earlier, maybe I think that was September or so, and now coming forward to October, he is mentioning IPOB. And so is it that these are part of the job you are doing for the indigenous people of Biafra? Because I see some kind of similarity in the statement coming from Smith and the document submitted to the ICC. And just before people think it is a propaganda, let me go straight to pull that particular first document that your group was submitted to the ICC. So because we are just talking about you file a document to ICC, you communicated the UK office, you communicated the UN Human Rights Office and all that. So you see that there are other organizations, other individuals, powerful people in the United States and around the world that your organization are dealing with in this particular case. To is it as influencer or as a lobbyist or what do I call it? So what do you have? Do you want to make comment on this? This may be a very delicate one, but do you want to make comment on this?
No, it's this is part of our experience, is working with people that are interested in these matters and can make a difference. Congressman Smith has been a congressman for 40 years. He has been an advocate of human rights his entire time. He has been one of the staunchest advocates for human rights and seeking justice and accountability for people worldwide, and certainly Africa. And he's been the chairman of the Africa Subcommittee for years. So he's very knowledgeable of these issues, and certainly we collaborate with him on these issues. But since we've been engaged, we are known, we are respected, and we are educating them on what's going on in Nigeria. And certainly our client is the indigenous people of Biafra. We care about all people. We care about anybody that is being killed. But right now, our main focus is to make sure that we can reach out to as many organizations and people that have influence in addressing the injustice and making sure that there's justice and accountability for the indigenous people of Biafra. We seek that for everyone, but right now we're seeking justice for what is happening against Mazikanu and also the indigenous people, in larger part, the indigenous people of Biafra. So it's clear to see when you point this out, this is what's going on. Nobody else is being labeled a terrorist. It took almost 12 years to label Boko Haram as a terrorist organization. Why aren't the Fulani extremists being labeled as a terrorist organization? They are killing people every day, and they have for years. So why all of a sudden it took 3 days to label or prescribe the IPOB as a terrorist organization. Nobody else in the world recognizes them as a terrorist organization. They are in opposition. And when people are getting killed, they resist. They fight back. So if you want to call that a terrorist organization, let me just say this too. When I dealt with the special rapporteur before she left, she said when she was over in Nigeria, there were human rights violations ongoing throughout the country. It was, where do you start? One thing that she left in my mind, and she indicated to me, that the IPOB was one of the largest opposition groups and seemingly effective opposition group in Nigeria. So that's been my judgment and my observation, not just mine, but others, that designation seemed to be more political than it was based in fact, because there are other organizations that are killing people on a daily basis over there. We've seen it, we've documented it, and we've reported it. Amnesty International has documented this. They issued a report in August of this year documenting this. So this isn't just BWGG, but our job is to educate, inform, and seek justice and accountability for the indigenous people of Biafra, and that's what we intend to do, and that's what we are doing.
Thank you very much. And then, also we saw in Washington time some time ago where they wrote something about opinion about indigenous people of Biafra. Because of your comments now reminded me about that particular article about opinion from a university lecturer or professor from one of the university in the United States. And we also noticed that your group intervened. Is it that whenever this kind of thing come up, in order to discharge your duty about defending and representing IPOB and Biafra people, what do you have to tell Biafrans? What happened in that? Because I have a document which you communicated to that university, and I have the document here. So did you receive any communication or anything like that from them?
We immediately contacted the editor. We did not hear back, but we immediately responded in writing, rebutting that. This article that came out, there was what we thought a lot of misinformation, and our job is to provide the facts and the truth, and that's what we do. So when something comes out that is seemingly inaccurate or false, at best misleading, it's our responsibility to respond to that. So we did, and that's exactly what we did in kind. And nobody knows exactly the genesis of that article, but it was very suspect and it came out of nowhere and we didn't get any response back at all. So we think that the article was misleading, it was false, and again, nowhere else does anybody else recognize the IPOB as a terrorist organization. And let me just go one step further. 20 April of this year, the UK
ndị be anyị daalụli nnenu nke ukwuu ka unu si wee gbaa mbọ wee na-esore n'ife anyị na-eme n'ime akwụkwọ dị iche iche. Ọ bụ ife m chọrọ ikwu bifo ma alapụ unu ka unu tinye alụ nke unu ife uche n'iru akwụkwọ gbasịta maka ya bụ ife dịka o si ada na dịka o si akpọtụ n'iru akwụkwọ. Ọ biko wa ajụ m chọrọ ịjụ, biko ndị Igbo ọma na-ege ntị saanụ ya bụ ajụjụ. Ọ ga-edugokwu n'oge anyị yakpọ n'ụwa anyị mitin nke ịbụọ jụọ ụwa anyị nwanne anyị nwoke anọ n'ụlọ nke mkpọrọ ebe a ka ọ ya anọzi. Ọ ga-edugo oge onye ọbụla bụ onye Igbo ya apụta tinye ebe ya bụ ife ọnụ maka ya bụ ife akarigo. Nnamdi Kanu nwere ife o mere n'iru akwụkwọ. Tọsifọ ihe ọjọọ mere n'iru akwụkwọ bụ na ọ sị na ọ chọọzi ịbụ onye Naịjirịa. Tọsọ ya wa bụ ife ọjọọ o mere. And ndị ọha eze niile ma ndị niile were na-ekwuchara ndị Igbo ọnụ fa, nobody is doing something about it. Nobody is doing anything about it. Ife a na-asụ bụ tọsọ ogologo oyibo. Maazị Nnamdi Kanu bụ the leader of indigenous people of Biafra IPOB si na mmegide na-emegide ụmụnne ya dịrọzi ya alụ mma si nye ya Biafra ka ọ na. Okay, to tell you that what that thing Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na-ekwu n'eziokwu, since eji Maazị Nnamdi Kanu check the system of Nigeria till now, the system na-ebezi akwa, everything is collapsing. Always able to fall now hotter. What's the more you hold him, the more the economy destroyed. He said these things. Obuli fumu na ipota ine kubo kama keje yondi fulani na major on the fulani. Chefo no ha buzo we major ndi Igbo. Owoli ndi Igbo mele ndi fulani. There's nothing an Igbo man. What if Igbo man mele fulani? Ndo aneze sina neji yo in the fulani about the killings in 1914. Na jubikon owoli ndi Igbo mele fulani ndi fulani. First from the jail we conquered si Hausa niile we bata ka konka kwuola n'Igbo ofu onye pụtalụ bụ Maazị Nnamdi Kanu si na nke ama mme na ndị ka ife a adịlọ achụbịa ka egbuo onye Igbo ewere nwanne ya lee. Ya bụ ife bụ ọ bụrụ ihe nji maka ya wee bịa ma ọ bụrụ na ego ọnụ m n'ife anyị na-ekwu n'iru akwụkwọ. Maazị Nnamdi Kanu stand with justice, equity and fairness. Owende mebeli iwu iche ọbụla ajụ na-ajụ ya so ndị Igbo ha akwa ejidere ya lapụ ya akwa the same thing Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na-azụ ka ọ na-azụ. Ndị Igbo kpọọ n'owu na meeting jụọ owu na-ajụ ọgwụ nakọ ha m n'ọnụ. Daalụ dị na-ekwusi na-esore anyị. Ọ bụla nke a bụ ụbọchị izu gị na-abịa n'iru akwụkwọ esore na EveningTEA na Eastern News 24 kabaro ka subscribe and turn on your notification ka ịlapụ imisi any for update dịka anyị na drop ya n'iru akwụkwọ oge niile. Daalụnụ ụmụnne m, ọgwụ nakọ ha m n'ọnụ.